You know, for a good 4 years or so, you had women in Hollywood or just everyday women, particularly Caucasian women, and others who yearn to be identified as Caucasian women, had something to say about Bill Cosby. In fact, the media, right along with the talking heads and the news anchors, them made Cosby out to be the biggest and the dirtiest and the most vicious, when a lot of those stories that was presented to the media were not truthful. And this is why I think a lot of us in the black community, those of us who are on social media or do these type of commentaries, yell about black media, because the brothers and sisters who are already in the media, they're compromised. I mean, we had Roland Martin on TV1 for a minute, and he never really pushed back against some of the things that were being said or tried to be objective. It wasn't until a guest right before, I think a week before his last shows aired, lumped him into a group. That's when he became reactive, and we don't need that. And and when you think back, like when I was one of the few people I had criticizing our former president, a lot of people thought I was jealous or hating on him. But now that he's out of office, or go back and look over his time in office, you see that you need constructive criticism. Now, I've stated before when I first heard about the Bill Cosby being accused many, many years ago, I said maybe Mr. Cosby ain't as wholesome as we thought he was. But then I said nothing came of it, and then I said, who's to say that these are actually truth? Because as I've said before, if you want to take a black man down, say he committed a murder or say he committed some sexual crime. And the stereotype since the original birth of a nation is that black men can control our sexual urges, which is farther thing from the truth. Yes, there are some men out there who are overly aggressive. Yes, there are some men who have taken it. Yes, there are some men who are abusive to women. The majority of men in society are not. Majority of black men are not. All we want to do is protect our women and our communities, but we haven't been able to truly do that because our community has been compromised time and time again. Way before Cosby was thrown under the bus, they was doing dry runs, these of mentioning Cosby name and R. Kelly, right along with Chris Brown and maybe a few other rappers and whatnot. But it didn't take, because those of us in the community and those of us outside who had a presence saying, wait a minute, Woody Allen, all these other cats out here, Roman Polanski, and y'all really go out here and always trying to make brothers out to be the boogeyman. Ronan Farrow, whose name has been always out there, had daddy issues. He knows that Woody Allen is not his dad, but he felt that Woody Allen did something to his sister. And people don't realize how powerful some people are, or some people will protect or their reputation because they associate themselves. The claims of Woody Allen doing questionable things with his daughter or daughters. Because remember, Woody Allen turned around and married his stepdaughter, his adoptive daughter. Remember that, and had kids with her. This is in the '90s. I was in high school, and I was like, what's going on? Elvis Presley had a relationship with an underage girl. I mean, now, yeah, she's up in age now. She's in her 70s, but back in the 19 early 60s and 50s, she was underage. Priscilla, we know it's Priscilla Presley now. Excuse me. Jerry Lee Lewis, great balls of fire, was messing with an underage girl, and it was his cousin at the same time. Those things are never brought up. It seemed like the last 30 years, our women have been compromised more so. They want that dollar. They want to be on TV. So they go out there and do and say anything to get out there. But the thing is, they line themselves up with racist Caucasian women and sit there and say, oh yeah, he did this, he did that, knowing that the stories are not true. Now, if Bill Cosby was out there being a player, that's between him and Camille. But I don't think Cosby interacted with those women the way the media is presented. Every man doesn't sleep with every woman he sees. There have been women that I've worked with. females I went to school with, women that I lived next door, women that I know that was willing to give it to me, and I didn't mess with them. Because sometimes it ain't always the best thing to do. But the thing is, the media quickly, literally overnight, I'm not exaggerating, had Cosby jokes, did everything about Mr. Cosby. People came out and said, I never liked him. I ain't never heard them refer to anybody Caucasian in Hollywood that done questionable things. When it came out that the father, Stephen Collins, who played the father on Seventh Heaven, had messed with underage girls, they got mad at his ex-wife for recording the conversation. When they thought there was an incident at his house, they thought Donna Derrico, who played on Baywatch, she thought he committed suicide. She felt bad for him. I saw him entertain tonight because at that time, Rob Marciano, who's doing the weather at ABC, he had went over entertainment night trying to be a host, and they say, "Oh, it's sad if he committed suicide." Wait a minute, you just found out he was messing with little girls. For some reason, adults in society are cool with adults messing with children. And I have a theory about that. Either they've done it themselves or they sit back having fantasies about it. Corey Feldman, for years, have been yelling that there have been people molesting kids, and especially males in Hollywood, and he's been dismissed. They had showed a clip where Barbara Walters said, "You know, you're destroying people's reputations," but they participate in destroying Michael Jackson's reputation. Even in death, they still call Michael Jackson a pedophile, even though Geraldo Rivera, Aphrodite Jones, and many of the reporters that was covering it said they realized that he was set up. But once they accused Bill Cosby, they said, "We got the big one." See, as Eddie Griffin said, you're not supposed to, black men ain't supposed to leave this world clean. Think about how when well-known black men and women have died, they bring up negative aspects of their life, but romanticize other people. If I don't, that should tick you off that we live in a society where people will lie on us and do things to make us out to be the villain of the story. But what get me is that you have other people who have more connection to us than they care to admit. Get out and they join in and add to the drama. And Linda Carter was one of them. Now, I shouldn't be surprised at the time when I heard this, but I'm like, really, Linda? She had something negative to say about Bill Cosby, but then fast forward maybe a month or so later, when it came out that Les Moonves, who was over CBS, had been accused of inappropriate behavior, she quickly came to his defense. I've known him for years. That's not the. I mean, she know. And then but y'all forget when Felicia Rashad, Mr. Cosby co-star, said something up. People attacked her to the point she stopped saying anything about it. When Keisha Knight Pulliam came out, they went after her. Whoopi Goldberg, they had made Whoopi Goldberg flip overnight. That's was that John Oliver and them all was she flipped overnight. Anybody that dared defend Bill Cosby was attacked. Kimmy Russell played in Ghost Dad with him, said, "I never seen Mr. Cosby do anything inappropriate with anybody." And when it looked like that people say it was like a lot of people's going to defend Bill Cosby, who they go get? The coons: Josie Phillips, Michael Eric Dyson, D.L. Hughley, Kenan Thompson, Don Lemon. And we can't forget Hannibal Buress is the one that kicked it off. And I still say he was paid off to do it because all of a sudden a no-name comic popping up in Samsung commercials, getting movie deals all of a sudden. But I digress. But Linda Carter had something to say. I know Les. He's not that. I vouch for him. But she quiet now. The other day, it came out that Les Moonves did something to Janet Jackson's career. Now, I had been saying for years, I said they done something, they was making up pay for what happened. But I think it's also her brother as well. They could never get Michael the way they wanted him, so they went after as the next Jackson. They dropped that little nugget about Les Moonves messing with Janet Music and her publishing thing for the last how many years, and it proved everything I said. They make that news dump on a Friday. You notice they ain't said nothing Saturday about Janet. They said nothing Sunday about Janet. They ain't said nothing Monday about Janet. You know why? Because they had to save face. Because this be the ultimate thing that they can say. Well, this proves that Les Moonves is vindictive. Look, he did to Janet Jackson. And the thing is, Justin Timberlake the one who ripped it. They said that he thought that she didn't apologize enough for him. Basically beg. Now, when people be sitting there saying, you guys are overly sensitive or you paranoid, well, guess what? We see this behavior time and time again where people are constantly accusing us of crimes, accusing us of things. Now, let me say something again. At first, I said Cosby could have very well been guilty. But then you start listening to some of the stories and they all sound exactly the same. People say, well, because they're the same, they mean they have no, no, no. Ain't no way in hell a Caucasian woman would have hesitated going to the police during the 1960s and 70s, even today. It's just no way in hell. And then there are women saying that he was in town this date on that date and it don't match up. And then the interviews they gave kept changing and things they were saying. Well, he raped me, but then you went back to him. So how's that rape if you're going back to the guy that raped you? He had all this power. Bill Cosby had no power, still has no power. If he had power, this would never even been mentioned. But this so-called Me Too Time's Up Gretchen Carlson thing that started last few years. What it is, these women reach a certain age and they not lookers anymore, and they figure, let me yell rape or harassment. Basically, these cases are hearsay. He said, she said type things. But to sit there and judge and say something about Bill Cosby, but then you go silent about Les Moonves, you have a total of 12 women accusing him, saying that he forcibly did stuff. Cosby didn't forcibly did anything. I don't recall him saying Cosby forced him to do anything. So Linda, are you gonna say something? Nah, probably not. Look how y'all was defending, called out people. They come to say out some of the women was out there yelling. Their stories may not be adding up, or they may not have been telling the truth. You had a woman last week or the week before last saying that she never had sexual contact with that young man. They start putting pictures and emails up. She come out and say, "Yeah, this happened." Blah blah blah. But I had warned y'all way last year. I said people get tired of these women crying about everything. When you start having white people turn on each other and whatnot, tell them this ain't nothing and everything, you should have known what was going on. But I wonder if Linda Carter gonna sit back and she's gonna apologize or she's gonna come out and say something about this. More than likely she's not. Judd Apatow has been silent. Has Judd Apatow came out and said anything about these other white men have been accused? Nah. But he had a man up for Bill Cosby. Just think about that for a second. And all the Negroes that participated and added their 2 cents, Jennifer Lewis, Erica Alexander, Josie Phillips, people that was employed by Bill Cosby, but I guess they figured because they came in late, they don't have to. One of these days, those people that participated, something gonna happen, and they never gonna think back to the lie or exaggerate or try to manipulate the situation. They never gonna think that way. They go like, "Why is me? Why are you doing this to me, Lord? I pray." And they never gonna realize that, years ago, y'all participated in a witch hunt, but certain people have benefited from it. Just think about that for a second. Let's see if Linda Carter spin her ass around and say, "Hey, I was wrong," or Les was wrong. Les was he was just evil, like you talked about Cosby. This Taco Bell eating bitch ain't gonna say nothing. Let's see. Let's see if she comes out and say something. More than likely not.